Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to a special edition. It's our Ward 3 Norfolk City Schools, Public Schools Town Hall. I wanted to take an opportunity to share information, resources, and also to answer any questions that you all may have as we're getting ready to go into the summer and prepare for the next school year. So I'm glad that you all are joining me and that you are here. I'm pulling up the screen here. I'm going to share some information. There'll be a lot of resources that you'll be able to go back to as far as from my website, which I encourage you to go and visit. That's boardmemberclanton.com. Again, that's boardmemberclanton.com. And look forward for you all to gain some additional information there. So glad getting everybody in here. Folks are coming on, which is good. Great. So again, welcome to everyone. You can, if you're viewing this, hopefully you're viewing it either on my my website. You can view it on my Facebook page at Carlos Clanton for NPS, Periscope through Twitter at CJ Clanton for NPS, or you're on the YouTube channel at Live with Carlos Clanton. So if you don't get the information, go back and check it out later there. But let me dive right into this. Got a lot of things I want to be able to share with you all and to go over it. But first, I want to give out some congratulations. This has been a good, in spite of everything, a good school year for us. And we couldn't leave out a school year without acknowledging the individuals who serve as our all-city teaching team. So we have named our teachers of the year. And so Jason Kuntz, who is a mathematics teacher at Oceanair, mathematics specialist at Oceanair Elementary School, is the teacher of the year for this year. Holly Holm, she is a teacher at Academy of Discovery at Lakewood. She is the middle school teacher of the year. And Miss Kimberly Ambrose, who is a theater arts teacher at Booker T. Washington High School, is the high school representative. So if you see them, you see information out there, please give congratulations to those individuals. They're representing us along with all of the teachers of the year, which has been a very interesting year. We applaud you for the work that you're doing for our students each and every day and how you're really putting it out there for them. So we appreciate you. Congratulations. And we hope for a better school year in the 2020-2021 school year. Also, I just want to remind you all about graduations. We went out of the box very much so with this class and the virtual graduations that we had. And so the class of 2020, if you missed it, you can watch the graduations on demand by going to Norfolk Public Schools YouTube channel. And if you don't know, you can find that at YouTube. It's NPS K-12. You go ahead and look at it, NPS K-12, and you can see all 5 of our high school graduations, the valedictorian, salutatorian speeches, all of that, and relive it all over again and be able to share that, students share it with friends and family across the country. So I encourage you to go take a look at that, get that information out there. But all 5 of our graduations are on demand, and you can get that at the YouTube channel NPS K-12. So this next item here is I wanted to kind of talk about some of the priorities that I had coming on the school board, as well as what I've been continuing. This is now going into my 3rd year on the board, coming July 1st. And so one of the things top was prioritizing teacher recruitment, training, and retention. And some of the things that came out of that, and you'll be able to find more detail on this on my website, boardmemberclanton.com. But I wanted to kind of go over some things. I supported the implementation of the pay and compensation study phase 4. This should be the final phase of this, in which provided 1-step increase for all of our employees across the entire district to receive at least a 2% pay raise depending on their current placement in their salary scale. I also supported teacher stipends for secondary teachers whose caseloads were essentially they have more than 150 students, so that we gave them some additional duty work stipends there. And one of the other things was about greater transparency and accountability. I voted for the establishment of our current school board accountability plan, which we're operating under. And for those who don't know, this year, the Department of Education, along with the Virginia Department of Education, essentially got away with the standards of learning for this particular year. They didn't have the SOLs, didn't have the test. And so it was a very unique year. This was also supposed to be the first year that we were going to implement the new accreditation process, how we accredit our schools. That changed as well. So that won't happen until next school year. So when we come back in the fall, we're essentially going to have next school year where we are, if everything goes as planned, that we will have standards of learning tests at the end of the school year. And based on that, attendance is still involved in that. But most importantly, new standards of learning focuses on improvement. It's not so heavily falling on a test, it's on improvement as well. And so we're looking for great strides with that with our schools for the next school year, 2020-2021 year. The other thing is that I also supported the authorization of contract funding this year in our budget for the development of the MPS strategic plan. For those who don't know, our strategic plan was done about 4 or 5 years ago, actually 5 years ago. I was a part of that planning, and now it's running out. So we have to ensure that the strategic plan for the district, which really sets up the goals, our vision, the board approves that, but the accountability plan aligns with that strategic plan, and that'll be driven with what's happening day in and day out with the superintendent and the actual school division in itself. So this will be another opportunity for members of the community, parents, stakeholders to all get involved in that process. This is how we came up with some of our norms, some of our priorities for the school division in the last process. And so we'll be able to reevaluate, go back and see if are these the same things that we say are important to us, and being able to take that information and move forward as we look at the next plan for the next 5 years or so for the school division. The other thing I looked at was expanding our early learning and career technical education. This looked to be an exciting year for public education across the Commonwealth of Virginia. We had Governor Ralph Northam, who of course is from this area. We had a very friendly legislature, both in the Senate and the House of Delegates, who were voting to give unprecedented new dollars back to restore us from our 2008 funding levels. Early childhood education was going to receive additional funding so that we can increase our mixed classrooms, which included different economic levels. And of course, COVID-19 hit. And we lost a lot of ground as far as funding. And they tried to stop it so that it didn't hurt, but it really didn't give us the opportunity to move forward. To make some more of those additional gains. And so the state, just like our localities, are all reviewing revenue, looking at dollars coming in. But I can guarantee you this, that myself and Adele Martin on the school board serve as our legislative committee representatives. And so we are already planning and how do we engage, how do we get our legislators who represent our delegation here at Hampton Roads prepared for the next upcoming session. And so that we can advocate to restore some of those funding areas and to ensure that they're still on the foresight of our legislators as they go in and start thinking about cuts or even things that they have to shift and move around. I also approved the Career and Technical Education Plan. I'm a big proponent of CTE, Career and Technical Education. I'm a product of CTE out of Norfolk Public Schools. And so we're looking a plan with that. I'm going to continue to advocate to ensure that we have robust career and technical education programs and ensuring that what we do with our specialty programs are robust and that our specialty programs are also communicated out there, that students know about the various different opportunities that they have and when they look at their career pathways. We've also been looking at implement support strategies to increase reading literacy and math proficiency. We have restored reading specialists and math specialists back in the school, and you will see that in our current budget here. And we're going to continue to monitor the successes out of that. We lost a lot of those positions when we had to make major cuts in the budget back in 2008 when the recession hit. It is now time. It's over 12 years. It's time for us to make an assertive effort, and I think that our board is doing that with the revenue and that we have in place to ensure that we can put those positions back in, because they really do make a difference of those students who need that extra assistance and support to get them where they need to be. I'll provide opportunities to support learning for all students. For those who know, my oldest nephew came through our special education program in Norfolk Public Schools. He had a learning disability. We now have a new director, and we're looking for great things out of that department, working hand in hand with our parents to ensure that all of our students, especially in this particular time with COVID-19, have the necessary resources and that we're engaging them and ensuring that those students who need that additional assistance can get that additional assistance, and we can make sure that they stay on the path for learning. Minimize external barriers of a child's ability to learn. That's another area we're constantly focusing on. Equity, inclusion, ensuring that just because you live in a particular neighborhood that you are not falling behind, and ensuring that we're not looking at equal across the entire school division, but we're being targeted and focused in the necessary resources that need to go into the schoolhouse, in the classroom, and making sure that they're highly qualified and skilled teachers to support our students each and every day. A hot topic that came this year, of course, with Ward 3, with Sherwood Forest Elementary School, Dr. Gabriel, myself, and Dr. Martin were out there engaging with the parents and have continuously kept this at the forefront. I think the PTA and Sharice Newsom and her work in advocating with the Parent Teachers Association to ensure that we had funding in place for this for maintenance, school maintenance. We were only getting about $3 million in the revenue sharing bill. This year's school budget presented almost $17 million in requests to City Council. And even in spite of budget cuts, major revenue losses in the city in the fourth quarter, I applaud and I thank City Council and our city manager for working with this, and Councilwoman Amy Johnson, who represents Ward 3 on City Council, that in spite of COVID-19, we were still able to secure at least $9 million in school maintenance funds. That's still $6 million more than what we've had. There's also about $15 million from the sale of the golf course at Lambert's Point that's been placed into a special fund. We can use that $15 million for school maintenance, or if we run into a situation with the school division and we have some major revenue shortages, we'll be able to either use that to fill those gaps. So we'll stay tuned. We're staying on top of that, monitoring how the revenue is coming in there and how we can appropriately ensure that we're getting the work done that needs to get done in our schools. I'm also on the facilities committee. I work with Mr. Jordan, Rodney Jordan, and we both serve on the facilities committee. And we're in the process right now of building a 10-year plan for Norfolk Public Schools. And this will look at our current school facilities, looking at boundaries, looking at the educational plan as a whole, and how we move that and move our district into a district that can ensure that it's delivering high quality education in 21st century plus facilities. Leaking roofs and all these other situations that we have. The average age of our school buildings in Norfolk Public Schools is about 45 to 50 years old. And so we have got to make an asserted effort. And I appreciate, again, PTA and others who are voicing and advocating on that behalf to City Council and also to us. We create the budget, but we send the budget over to City Council, and City Council approves that. And so working with them as partners to educate them and inform them as to how we're using the resources from the city and from our taxpayers to better our educational system and also to provide world-class learning environments. Another thing that I really haven't talked a whole lot about, back in December, I have been working with various different groups, the Booker T. Washington Concerned Citizens, the PTA of Booker T. Washington, as well as the Booker T. Washington High School Foundation. These are all concerned citizens, alumni, parents who were really concerned about Booker T. Washington and its specialty program. It currently has the Academy of the Arts. And so I put forth a resolution after forming an advisory task force, bringing the community together, listening to their concerns and trying to get them on one page in respect of how to move forward with Booker T. Washington High School. I brought that before the school board and my colleagues on the board, not a unanimous vote, but the majority vote, voted to ensure that Booker T. Washington High School would move forward with its a feasibility study that would look at its program, take input from the community, those current students, the teachers, looking at what we offer there, and also in that feasibility study to examine what that specialty program would look like. And then also we'll assess the facility, the current structured building that Booker T. Washington has, and whether or not it meets the needs for the programs that we're saying that we want at Booker T. Washington High School. That has been in the budget. It's been approved. And that process will begin come this July. I do have a meeting scheduled with the task force tomorrow to update them and to begin to to talk about the scope of work and to be able to get this done and to get it back before the board in the first part of 2021 to update them on how we're moving along with the progress there. The other thing is that with Booker T. Washington High School and Norview, they received an additional grant this year to help them. And I think we've expanded out to several other schools with math assignments and STEM. And so you'll see more information about that and that information as well. So those are kind of like my focus areas there. I think I went over everything on that one. Yep, in the educational planning, that's coming. We should be getting the educational plan from our consultants fairly soon. So let's talk about reopening schools. And I want to really put that out there to everybody because we really need to hear from you. Norfolk Public Schools has a survey that's out right now. It's on the website. I will also be posting this on my website as well as on my social media. There are several different options that are out there, and we need your input. We need to hear from parents as we're looking at this, as we're listening to the professionals from the health department and others, but we really need to hear from the parents. And so I'm asking my Ward 3 parents, as well as all of Norfolk's parents and community members, we need to hear, how is this going to affect you if many of you are returning back to work? How is this going to affect your concerns around health? Those things are there. And we really need to hear from you. So if you get an opportunity, go to npsk12.com, or you can go to Board Member Clanton, as well as on my social media to complete that survey. We're asking parents to do that, as well as I'm posting information from some resources from the Virginia Department of Education, and as well as today, not today, but yesterday, the governor announced that we're moving into phase 3. And so what does that mean for us? Phase 3 means larger gathering groups. I think of almost 250 people, continuing to still have mandatory face mask on. But it's moving us into another phase. Now, we've probably been seeing around the news, there are a lot of other states who have numbers that are rising up. However, we're fortunate here in Virginia, and I think the measures that our governor and his administration took, our numbers are not. They're still going down. But we have to be vigilant. We have to still maintain social distancing, maintain washing hands. And so you have to put all those things into perspective when we start talking about reopening schools. What does that look like? Does that fully putting every child in school? Is that part-time? So all of those options are there. We just need to hear from you. And so spread the word. If you've completed a survey, post it on your social media. Send a text message to another parent that you may know. We want to hear from everybody so that we can make an informed decision and take in respect to what everybody has to say. One of the other things that we have, which I was very pleased in spite of everything that was going on, and that was about our summer meal distribution plan. We're going to continue to do that over the summer. And our students who rely on meals at school will still have that. We're going to still do that on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. And that will take place from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And that'll be at Azalea Gardens Middle, Booker T. Washington High School, Camp Allen Elementary School, Coleman Place Elementary, Crossroads Elementary, James Monroe Elementary, Lake Taylor School, Little Creek Elementary, Norview Elementary, Ocean View Elementary, Southside STEM Academy, St. Helena Elementary, Suburban Park Elementary, Tanners Creek Elementary, and Tywater Park Elementary. You can still, again, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, and they're still doing the weekend distribution for anybody who receives meals over the weekend. Now, we still are maintaining our delivery sites. And so, as you know, in the middle of the COVID-19, we added some delivery sites just to even increase our presence and reach. And so with that, we're going to still continue to have summer meal distribution, and it'll still be on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Titustown Recreation Center, you'll be able to get meal distributions from 11 a.m. to 1:30 a.m. At Titustown. You'll also be able to go Huntersville School Community Center from 12 to 12:30, and Grandy Village Recreation Center. You'll be able to do that from 1 to 1:30 p.m. I see Miss Gloria Scott Allen is asking, are you considering all day high schools. And I'll be perfectly honest, everything is on the table, Ms. Allen, is we are looking at, based on the feedback, looking at how we can structure transportation, how do we clean the facilities. There's a whole lot of things on the table that we have to put into perspective for opening the school. So please fill out the survey, share that. This will be a topic that the board will be discussing at our retreat, as well as we'll be getting a full update regarding where we may potentially be moving, and that will be presented during our board meeting in July. The next item that I want to cover is mobile device return. So I appreciate our administration and their quick reaction and working to ensure that we fill the gap. A lot of our students didn't have mobile devices. A lot of them didn't have access to internet and high-speed internet. And so we were able to get MiFis out to households as well as other devices. And so this is important that if you have a mobile device, you got to return them. Who needs to return them? So some pre-kindergartners who will be attending a different school in the fall, you're going to need to return them. Fifth graders, this is not including those who go to K-8 or 3-8 schools, but fifth graders are going to go to middle school. So they're going to need to return those devices to their current elementary school. High school seniors or graduates, of course, you're leaving Norfolk Public Schools, you need to return that device back to the school. And students who will transfer to another school or out of the district. So if you're going to Tanners Creek Elementary School and you have a device, but you're transferring and now going to go to Norview Elementary School, you're going to still need to return that device to Tanners Creek Elementary School. And then if we're in a situation where we need to distribute another device, you'll receive that from your new elementary school. And so they phase this into groups. So group one of parents and guardians and students should return the devices, and you can do that now all the way through August 28th. And just so you know, the school buildings are open on Tuesdays and Thursdays during the summer between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And you want to make contact with, send an email to the principal to let them know that you're coming to return your device on that day. Group two are students attending required summer school. They should return their mobile devices at the end of their summer school, which will be on July 28th. And then group three, which are students who received an incomplete for their current grade and who need to complete work. They should return their devices also by August 28th. So they've got them by groups. If you fall into one of those categories there, make sure that you get your devices back there. The district is also taking great care. Once they receive the devices back, they will sanitize the devices. Devices will be quarantined into a separate area for at least 3 days before they begin to do any type of maintenance work on it and to prepare them for redistribution. So again, I welcome everybody who's joining. I just want to make sure I got information out and being able to share and be a resource as your school board member and to answer any questions. So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask me, please put them in the chat. And I will share them there during the session here. So let me look at the next thing that we've got here. We got mobile device returns. This is an important one because this comes up every year and I hear it. Registration. So if you have new students or you're moving into the area or you've got those darling 3 and 4-year-olds who will be 3 or 4-year-olds by September 30th, you need to register them now and prepare them for school. Let's see here. Let me, all right. So enroll by August 15th. And so you can do this by visiting their school that your child is zoned in. And again, those schools will be open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And you can schedule an appointment by emailing the school principal and complete registration packets and submit it to the school. All required documentation has to be provided at the time of enrollment. That's birth certificate, school entrance physical, it's immunization certificate, and if an expulsion statement. So if you're coming from another school division and you were expelled and you were trying to get into Norfolk Public Schools. That's if it's applicable to you. But you can visit the NPS school registration webpage, and you can go to NPS K-12 and get all the necessary information on that one. Also, full day preschool. The child lives, child lives in Norfolk, will be 3 or 4 years old by September 30th. You want to go and visit the NPS preschool webpage to download the application. And once you've completed that application, you can email it to preschool@npsk12.com. Or if you're in a situation where you want to get a hard copy, you can also request that to be emailed to you as well. Got a question here. I'm going to look at this. We'll come out of that for a second. And let's see here. We got a big one here. So it says, where transparency and accountability are concerned, can you tell me what the plans is for the capital improvements for Sherwood Elementary School? The school board and superintendent have not been communicating any plans. There was $6 million more in the budget for buildings and maintenance. I know I have continued to email, and the chair of the school board is not responding to one of our comments, nor have you as the vice chair of school board representatives. Well, Rosemary, I'll be perfectly honest. I don't remember receiving another email from you, but I will tell you I'm going to respond to you now. And so, since you placed your the comment there, as far as we have 49 some odd facilities, and we have now $9 million to handle maintenance. As a part of the original school board budget proposal, you will see that Sherwood Forest Elementary School is listed there. I think there's windows and doors, the repairs that are in there. Be perfectly honest, I mean, we're going to need a new Sherwood Forest Elementary School at some particular point in time. As we are in right now, unprecedented in the respect that we have this COVID-19 is wreaking havoc on the revenue streams that are coming in. We requested $17 million, and we were able to get $9 million. There is not a full plan because we're waiting on that. And I mentioned that earlier in the broadcast in regards to the educational planning that we're going to receive from the consultants, which will include looking at all of our schools in Norfolk Public Schools, as well as Sherwood Forest. And that will include recommendations from them, possibly talking about consolidation, talking about changing border boundary areas. We have not received that report yet, but I will let you know that I intend to be watching and maintaining and continuing to communicate and having sessions like this, even if we can't be together, to keep you all informed. I also share to anybody here, and I'm going to place it up here, if you have questions, I am very accessible. People send me stuff all the time on Facebook. They send things to me on Messenger, my email, my phone number. That'll also be shared up here for you as well. Please reach out if you have questions or you don't feel like you're getting something there. People who know me know that I will be accessible and I will answer the questions. So I appreciate you for putting that question there, and I appreciate your commitment and dedication to ensuring that Sherwood Forest gets what it needs and that our students are in a healthy, safe, and secure environment. And so thank you, and I'll make sure that I get something for you. And so, Rosemary, if you can, drop it in there. There's my contact information where you can find me online as well. Yep, just share your questions, and yeah, so you can get me to any of those. Yeah, just let me know. I will definitely respond, and I'll do what I can. Okay. So the next item that I have that I wanted to share with you all, and again, if you have questions or comments, please feel free to add them to the chat there. So the next item that I wanted to go over was that I have information that I'm going to be sharing with you all in regards to the opportunities this summer. I have an entire page that you all can go to for summer activities, ideas, and resources. This is a different summer. So a lot of things are virtual. You don't necessarily have the access that you would have normally had to be able to send your kids to summer camp and so forth. So this is an opportunity. There's a list. There's probably over a good 80 to 100 different items on that page. And I will be posting that out as well. And also I'm encouraging everyone, I'll be placing it on my social and on the website to sign up for my e-newsletter. That information will be coming out weekly to you all. I'm preparing that now for next school year to provide resources, information from you. One of the things that I'm beefing up, and even on my end, and that's to engage more and to share information more with you all than when I receive it that's available to the community, because I believe the more you all are informed, the better that you can be great stakeholders and partners with us as we work to ensure the best quality education for your children. And so student activities, again, like I said, you'll be able to go to my website and see that. So somebody placed in there about the next school name changes, and we'll talk about that. But I also want to point out that the Norfolk City School Board adopted at our last board meeting an anti-racism resolution that clearly stated what we believe our school division should be and where we should be going. For anyone who has lived in the city of Norfolk, like I have, born and raised here, product of our school division, you understand the deep divides that sometimes when we get into race and even geographic areas that our city can sometimes have. And those inequities from years ago still exist in respect of some of the geographic things that we have. We look at community schools and say that it's a great thing. But however, on the flip side, the reality is some of these schools were put in place just to keep certain minority groups and economic groups from integrating into other schools. It's there, it's documented, it's the truth. And so one of the things that you'll begin to see, and that I'm going to be advocating more for as we continue to move through this school year, is to ensure that we are looking at things with an equity lens, that we are looking at our policies, our procedures, our protocols, and that we're doing it in a respect, is it being equitable to our students? Are we giving all of our kids a fair shake and an opportunity? So I encourage you all to advocate, to continue to express your concerns, your opinions, and even your thoughts and suggestions, which leads me to my next item, the call to rename schools. So I did an interview this week in the absence of Dr. Gabriel. She had another appointment that she couldn't move over calendar. And so as the vice chair, I stepped in. And so what you saw, I think the one that I did was on News Channel 3. WTKR News 3's angle on it was about cost. And it was also about highlighting the respect of the possibility of renaming Maury High School after one of the Norfolk 17, Mr. Cousins. And so I think every idea on the table is a great idea. I mean, in the respect that we have to just look at it. But there's no doubt in my mind that there is a movement of change that has to happen. And some of these relics in the respect of names and monuments and so forth, to understand the history. And I thank everyone who has submitted and sent information to me and to my colleagues, to giving us history, various different perspectives. So I can tell you this in the respect that our school board at our retreat, we're going to have a discussion to talk about the call for renaming schools, what that process will look like, how we can engage the community. Even probably, I mean, we have a policy right now. The policy states that, in just a nutshell, that if we're going to name a building after a person, that person has to be deceased for at least 10 years. We're going to revisit that. I mean, do we name buildings after people anymore, or do we name them after geographic locations? That's one of the things that's out there on the table. So stay tuned. I know that our school board retreat this summer will be, which is July 13th, 14th, and then school board meeting, I think, is on the 15th, will be streamed. And so we encourage you to pay attention, to look at it, and to offer your experiences and your insight. And so I see Ms. Cousins, Andrew Cousins there, supports the name change. I'm not quite sure if you have any relations to Mr. Cousins, but I will share this in the respect. I am a proud graduate of Maury High School, and I appreciate the valiant action that Mr. Cousins did in integrating Maury High School. I also realized that after 4 years of going through Maury High School, I didn't learn really about Mr. Cousins until I had already graduated, because there was no real formal recognition of the Norfolk 17 or even him in Maury High School. And so I know that the discussion has begun, and it's one that I'm going to continue to press. And I've had some preliminary discussions with the superintendent, and along with reaching out to the principal there. And I'm going to call on alumni, people who love our school, who love our community. But most importantly, I think the right thing to do at this particular moment, even in the beginning of the next school year, is to ensure that there is a respectable acknowledgement of what Mr. Cousins did. And being that student, he passed away this past January. He was part of the Norfolk 17, but I would not be able to go to to have graduated and gone to Maury High School, or several other, my mother, other members of my family who came through that school division, came through that school, if it wasn't for the effort and what he did. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate the information. So Mary Simpson Jones, you asked, what about special education department and the staff who teach this subject matter? Mary, I'm not quite sure which subject matter. You're talking about African-American history. So Mary, if you can, just clarify which subject matter for me, because I may have missed it when you put it in there, and then I'll come right back to that. Rosemary, I see that you've added Sherwood Forest Elementary is in dire need of full attention. With all due respect, I do not feel that your reply is acceptable, and it's been 8 months since the deplorable conditions of the school were exposed. I appreciate your comments, and you're entitled to your opinions. But the reality of the matter is that we have an entire school division and a limited budget, and we have just been hit with a pandemic where we had to ensure that we had teachers in the classroom for the upcoming school year. I can guarantee you that making sure that we have a safe and secure learning environment for all of our students is at my top priority. It is one of the top priorities. I would not have been at Sherwood Forest Elementary School to listen to the concerns to the very end, to the last person left at Sherwood Forest Elementary School, if I was not concerned. So Miss Rosemary, if you have additional questions or comments, I welcome them. I am welcoming a conversation into what suggestions you might have as to what we could possibly do, and to work alongside with you to ensure that we can move Sherwood Forest Elementary School forward. But it is one of many, and trust me, I'm sitting on that facilities committee, looking through what we can do with the limited budget that we have. And that's why when we have this educational planning that comes back, it may even show to us that we have to look at consolidation in order to be able to get new schools, or even looking at other methods of construction, and looking at public-private partnerships. I think everything is on the table. But I encourage you to reach out to me. I'll make sure that if I find you on social there, that I can engage with you in the respect of, let's work together to see what we can do to continue to make sure that we do what's best for Sherwood Forest and all of our students in Norfolk Public Schools. So I am also, let's see what we got here in the next item. So looking ahead for the next coming school year, what I've got, I'm looking to schedule and host Zoom meetings with all of our stakeholders to include all Ward 3 civic leaders and civic leagues, as well as all our Ward 3 school PTAs. I know that right now we still have the social distancing. We are moving into phase 3, but I also want to continue to ensure that individuals who want to stay home still have an opportunity to engage, and that we keep the conversation going. And so I will be offering the ability to do Zoom meetings throughout the summer and as we move into the next fall of the school year, to ensure that I'm hearing your voices as we continue to make decisions for the coming year. Also, I'm going to continue to advocate and put forth resolutions that address equity and systematic racism within our public school division. Maintenance is still going to be a major issue. And so as we look at our educational planning for the next 10 years, and as we begin to prioritize which schools we're going to be able to move forward, it is, every school needs attention. Every school is important. But we're in a tough situation. It's balancing resources versus the need. And so we're going to continue to challenge that. And I'm going to continue to work on that myself, and look forward to anything that you all may have to offer as we move forward with that. So the last thing that I have here is that please stay in contact with me. I'm going to continue to do things like this. If anybody knows me, I don't shy away from tough questions or the tough answers. I didn't run for office to be patted on the back all the time or to run away from things. I ran to make change in the school division and to represent the concern. So there's no question or no issue that's too large for me. I'm willing to listen, and I appreciate you. And sometimes we got to be, the reality of the matter is that we can be passionate about various things. So I encourage you all. I've created a website, boardmemberclanton.com. It's one of my ways of engaging. I'm going to continue to put resources and information out there. There's also an opinion section in there. So if there's something that you feel like I could do better, or you have a suggestion or idea, please drop it there. I will get it. And I will make sure that I get back to you. You can also tune in to Live with Carlos Clanton every Thursday. So next week we'll have another session, and I'll be releasing what that topic is going to be on. But I'm telling you where I'll give you this respect of where I'm leaning. I believe that individuals need to understand the history and why people are so passionate about this movement of changing names and so forth in our city. There was a book about the inequities in Norfolk Public Schools that a professor at Norfolk State University wrote, a white professor at that, Charles Ford, wrote about Norfolk Public Schools. And it's one of the readings that we get as a school board to understand, mass resistance, to understand when we closed our doors and how you ended up with the Norfolk 17. So I'm looking at inviting some individuals who have historical context, perspective, and to be able to talk about that and even offer suggestions on how we can move forward. It's not just about defunding police. This is a larger discussion about how do we make things equitable for all of our students and for all those who walk in those doors each and every day, making sure that they have a highly qualified teacher in their classroom, that they have a safe and secure and clean learning environment. All of those things are at the forefront. It's just how do we get it done? But guarantee that this is something that I'm working on each and every day. If you're not following me on Facebook, you can catch me at Carlos Clanton for NPS. I'm always sharing information, resources there. You can also follow me on Twitter and Periscope. Right now I'm streaming live on Periscope there, and you can go back and watch the recaps. YouTube, I have a channel there. So all of these sessions are all posted there. So you want to go back and find out information, as well as signing up for my e-newsletter. I'd love for you to be able to share your thoughts and opinions with me. Here is my school board email, cclanton1@npsk12. I'll write that down. I'm going to leave it there, as well as this is my school board phone. This phone is with me. It's with me right now. Text me, call me. You've got a direct line to me. I ran to serve, and I've had the honor, the privilege of serving, and now going into my third year. And I'm looking to continue to press for change in our school division and doing what's in the best interest of our scholars and our staff members who work each and every day. So I am at the end of really the additional information that I had there. And I will, if anybody has any questions or anything that you'd like to share, again, there's my contact information. Reach out to me. Again, I thank you for the opportunity to be able to serve. I thank you for the opportunity to be able to do what's in the best interest of our kids each and every day. I've got a nephew and a niece, and a nephew who just graduated about a year ago out of Norfolk Public Schools. I have a deep vetted interest. And just like it's more than a tagline to me, but it says student-centered and teacher-inspired. I am. My teachers inspired me. I look to their guidance and listening to them even to this day. And I swell up with great pride when I see every student who walks into those schools and who walks across that stage and gets their diploma, because I know what it means and I know what it feels like, because I had that opportunity and I had great teachers who didn't want to give up on me. And so with that, I thank you all for tuning in. There's information there. Again, go to Board Member Clanton. You can find additional information, how to be involved and engaged. Scrolling at the bottom there. Again, thank you. Share this information. Reach out to me. I am here to listen, to learn, but most importantly, at the end of the day, to take appropriate action at the level that I can at the board. And the more informed I am, the better informed I can be around that table with my colleagues, and the more that I can advocate on behalf of our students and our communities here in Norfolk. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great one. Enjoy your summer.